Okay, so good morning, everyone. I am happy to have you all join us for this much anticipated boot camp. My name is Kenneth Odo, and as you all know, I am um, the face behind as the chief organizer of the boot camp. I'm working with my team at Analytics Hive, and it's my honor to have you all join us for this 3 week program. So today and now being the very first session, we will do a quick um, give a quick overview of what we want to achieve in today's session, and then we will also set out time to handle possible issues. I don't know if all of us already have our systems set up, if we have the relevant applications, that's Excel and Power BI set up and all. So if that's the case, then that will make the work um, easier. Otherwise, if there's anyone here that needs any form of special support setting up their PC, we would handle that in the course of the session. So please, if you need assistance or support with setting up your system, kindly indicate so that we can allot time for that. Then, okay, so today's session is supposed to be on process automation. Process in this case is a data process, but I would like to know each one's strengths before we delve deep into the main session. Meaning, I would like to know our familiarities, our different familiarities with the tools we are going to use for this um, program, that is Excel and Power BI. If there's anyone here that has um, some knowledge that is basic to advanced knowledge of Excel, then you can mention that so that at least it's good to know where we are, to know how deep we can go, or how, our different levels of expertise will determine how detailed we can go and all. So maybe the first two persons to unmute themselves should just give us a kind of a brief highlight, let's say their own background and familiarity with the tools we are using. So I'll pick two persons randomly. I'll pick Norma, and then I'll pick Emmanuel. So please, can you unmute yourself and maybe let us know about your familiarity with the tools we're using.
Okay, I'm a little familiar with Excel. I wouldn't say expert, but to a great extent, I understand and I've used Excel as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So Emmanuel, could you unmute yourself and
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
morning?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've never used Power BI. I'm just familiar with Excel. And it's not like intense familiarity, but that normal using it for research, just normal addition and calculation. I don't know beyond that.
Okay. All right. All right. That's great. So I think since we are just three, I mean, there are just the three of you for now. Mr. Valentine, uh, could you also share your experience, just very briefly, so we can proceed? So you can unmute yourself in case you're trying to say something.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Though I have knowledge on Excel, but it's not, let me just say, an intermediate knowledge that I can manipulate, clean data, and maybe remove duplicate and all of that. But I still need advanced knowledge on that. But for Power BI, I think even yesterday I was trying to work on the clean data and do other things there, but there was where was giving me challenge. So I'm just getting used.
Hello, can you still hear me?
So I
Okay,
think,
all right.
sir.
Okay, no, no, no. I think at some point I stopped hearing you, so I wanted to know if it's my network. All right, all right,
Okay.
all right. Thank you. Sorry. So the reason why I started this, I had to mention this, is that I'm not sure it would do us much good if we just jump into automation and all when we don't even know the basics of Excel. But I'm glad that at least we have um, some, even if it's basic knowledge of Excel. And Excel, as you can see, it's just the interface is just like most other Microsoft products because it is a Microsoft product, and to a large extent, it's considered as one of the should I say standard tools in the industry as long as or as far as data analysis is concerned. And you can do a lot with Excel, but for most users, I think we are just basically scratching the surface of Excel in terms of performing additions. I can come here and do 1 plus 1 and 1 plus 2. Excel will tell me 3. And, sorry, I can come here and put 1 plus 2 and then it will tell me 3 and all that, right? So I think that's mostly what most persons do with Excel and all that. And then so the quick walkthrough we have is that this is the home tab, right? And then this is where you do number of formatting, and I mean most of the things you do here are related to formatting. Like formatting is more about what you see on your screen. So if I let's say I have two here, and I want these two to look differently, I can apply different formatting to it. I can apply shading to the background. Let's say I give it an orange shading, I give it a white font, and I increase the font size to let's say 18 and all that. I can even format it from I mean the data type from being just a number general to currency, and then you could see that we have the dollar sign next to it. I could even change the currency, and I could do a lot in terms of what I can see. But the underlying data behind this, the formatting itself does not really change the underlying data, right? What I mean is that as we are seeing this two now, and 2.0, if I call this cell into another, maybe I call it to a different place, the formatting here will not follow it. It will just pick this 2, which is the main number. So that's one thing you have to take note about formatting. So everything you see here enables you to format the data and all that. Then this is where I think this is also related to, okay, these are the insert tab, where you can apply a number of things like images, create tables, and then insert charts and all that. And then this one is for drawing. I'm not sure most of us really use this one. Then this is also about formatting the document itself, the file itself. This part of it is mostly about the file itself, not the underlying data. And then this is where you apply different levels of calculations and all. And here we have the data tab. This is where you can import data. This is where you can import data from multiple sources. Don't worry, we'll have another session where we are going to handle this. You can import data from different sources, combine data and transform data, and do a lot of things. Update the sources of your data, filter, and then even apply different levels of data validation. And then this tab is for that's the review tab. This is where you can do things like apply different levels of um, permissions and securities to protect the worksheet from being altered. And more about this very place, which is the view tab, is more of what you see, like the display. Let's say I don't want these grid lines to show. This is where I can turn it off, and you can see that it's now showing as a plain white screen, right? You will find this useful when you're designing your dashboard with Excel and all that. Then I don't want the heading as well to show. You could see that it just disappeared. I can bring it back. I don't want the formula tab, the formula bar to show. The formula bar, you see the formula bar here somewhere at the top here. So if I want to restore it, I can come back to this view, right? I can come back to this view and toggle it on. So you can see that it's now back. This way I can now insert my formula and all. Then this is the developer tab. I am not sure most of us already have this turned on, right? But it doesn't come enabled by default, so you'd have to turn it on. We're going to see how to handle that. Then this is for help in case you're stuck, and then this is for power pivot and all. So it's just a quick walkthrough of the interface. Then to just get us more familiarized with it. And another thing you should know about Excel is that when you want to, Excel comes with a bunch of formulas and equations already inbuilt, so you don't need to start um, doing those all over, right? So, and when you want to enter a formula in Excel, you start with an equal to. So if I want to add two numbers, I will do equal to 34 minus 3 would give me 31, right? So this is the answer. Then you can enter it either directly in the formula bar here. Let's say I select a cell. All right, sorry. Let's say I select a cell. Go back. Okay. Let's say I select this cell. I can enter the equation I want to enter. Let's say I will do 24 times or 24 minus 15. All right, 24 minus 15. If I enter equal to sign, Excel will treat it as an equation, right? And then give me the answer. But if I just enter it directly, let's say I select this one and I enter 24, 23 minus 4, nothing happens, nothing changes, right? That's because I did not start it with an equal to sign. So that's just the basics of entering equations and formulas in Excel. And there are a lot of other things we could do with Excel. Excel also comes with formulas for a lot of things. Sorry, let me restore our view to not look too boring. Okay, I think this is better. So meaning that there are a lot of formulas Excel comes with, and these formulas can be logical to perform certain logical functions, to handle errors, to 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 work on both numbers and even text. As we go on, we're going to be seeing how and when to apply all this. So this is just a quick overview of what the interface looks like. So we are not going to Power BI for today, but we'll definitely get there. I hope you can still hear me and see my screen. Hello?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we
can
can
see
hear
and
you.
hear you.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to be sure. So let's go back to the main business of the day. Today's session is on process automation, and it's just session one of the overall, of a broader topic, right? A broader topic. That's data automation and time saving, techniques. Data process automation with Excel and Power BI. So we want to dive deeper into process automation. And first of all, what is a process automation? Process automation simply refers to replacing manual tasks by training or scheduling certain workflows that you would normally have done manually, and then telling the computer how to do it, so that you, with little to no manual input from you, the computer can do that. And I think that's just the simplest definition I could coin to illustrate what process automation is. So there are a lot of things that take our time every day that we need to repeatedly do all the time. So anytime you identify or discover that certain process or certain routine is recurring, and the steps taken to achieve that very task is predictable, then instead of repeating it all the time, why not think of automating it? So the objectives of today's class are: number one, we have an overview of automation in business processes, and then we'll have a walkthrough of key Excel automation features, and then we'll also have a hands-on um, session whereby we create some basic automation for common tasks. I hope we have our laptops and ready for that. So those are the three key things we want to achieve in today's class. So why should you automate? You should automate because it would save you time. It will save you time instead of having to come back always and always to repeat the same thing. If you automate it, it means that tomorrow you with or without you being physically there, that same process can be achieved. And another thing about automation is that it helps to reduce errors. It helps to reduce errors in the sense that if a certain process is repeated all the time, some days you may not really be in the right mood to maybe, or you may just be in a hurry, right? And then a place where you are supposed to enter someone's name or someone's age, maybe, or let's say sales value of a 1 million naira, you would end up entering 100,000 naira, forgetting uh, about the last zero, which could have a huge impact on the overall data. So by the time you automate it, right? By the time you automate it, you can set certain rules that can help you avoid such errors in the process. Another thing about automation is that it helps to boost productivity. That's it frees your time for other important things. And then and the last thing I would like to mention about automation is that it makes it easier to spot trends or failures. Let's say in general marketing, for those that are familiar with marketing, a lot of the email campaigns we receive have actually been automated, being that the moment you sign up on a company's website or web form, you you receive a welcome email, even if it's by 1 a.m. There is nobody there, obviously, in the office to send you that email, but that process has been automated. Now, let's say you are working in a firm and you are the, should I say, the customer support or customer representative, or you are the HR, and you want to monitor the effectiveness of certain campaigns you have set out. It is by the time you have automated this that you can keep track of trends. But if it is just something that for every new person that joins your company, you send a manual email, or let's say for every new person that opts into your business through your website web form, you send a manual email. You may not really know which emails work and which one do not work. But by the time you automate this process, you can even test out different um, um, variations of such email to see which one people resonate with more, right? So these are just some of the benefits that automation give to us. And the other thing here is now, when should I automate? How would you know when it is right to automate? Because it's not just about going to automate all the time. It comes with its own downsides, being that by the time you have automated a process, it becomes more difficult to change it. Or better put, automation tends to change the status quo. Like it brings a significant change to the way things are being done in an organization. So for you to automate certain things, you have to really have some justifications for it, and to know whether whether the outcome of that very automation process would be worth it. And then other things you would have to consider are things like, let's say, the very process you want to automate, what are the downsides? Because if a process is already erroneous, maybe there are already some flaws in a certain process, automating it without handling those flaws would inevitably, or yeah, how do they put it, would definitely only speed up the rate of such errors occurring, right? Now, there are four things that I would want us to keep in mind whenever, I mean, while we consider our own different processes in our workplaces. How can we identify good opportunities to automate process or automate a given process, and at what point should you do that? Number one, if the process is um, reoccurring at a high frequency, right? This part is to say that if you are working in a firm or in a company, or let's say you're an account manager, and every morning you are supposed to send out certain reports to your clients or to the managing directors every morning of every working day, right? You need to do this. It means that in 1 week you have to do this at least 5 times. In 1 month you'll be doing it for up to how many times? Let's say 20 times or thereabout, and so on and so forth. Let's say also that it takes you 15 minutes to compile this report at a minimum, because obviously it should be more than that. That means 15 minutes per, that is in 1 week you will be spending like 75 minutes. That is 1 hour 15 minutes. Then in 1 month you should be spending 75 minutes times 4 should give us 300 minutes, which is how many hours? Should be about 5 hours, if I'm correct. I guess yes. So in 1 month, you'll be spending like 5 hours. But this is just for a basic example. If the process actually takes just 15 minutes. So once you have identified that the frequency is high, then you should consider automating that process. But if it is something that you just made, let's say it's an annual report, well, that one you may have all the time throughout the year to prepare those reports, depending on the complexity. So the frequency is low, unlike the case of um, daily reports or even hourly reports. Then the second one is time sensitivity. Let's say this report must be sent out by 8 a.m. every day. And some days there will be traffic on the road that will keep you away from office. You would get to office late by 9:30. And those reports are time sensitive. So how do you now handle that? How do you now avoid cases like this? It is by automating upfront. The third one is high volume. Let's assume that we have many clients that we are sending these reports to, and each of them has their own account. Obviously, each of them have their own different accounts. Each person's report is tailored to them and all that. So it means if you are still doing it manually, you would have to copy each person's report and then paste it in a Word document and send to them and all that, which takes a lot of time and which also brings in errors. You may copy Mr. Obi's reports and they send to Mr. Uh, Aladdin and so on and so forth. Then the fourth thing I would mention is when you have multi-user needs. This could be in terms of, let's say you are working with other members of the organization, and you you are not the only one working on these accounts, and there is need to foster some level of consistency and standards in the process, so that uh, the clients receiving those services will not even notice if it is Mr. Valentine that prepared this report, or it's Miss Norma and all that. So you could set up some templating system that ensures that everything is consistent. So at this point, I would also want to confirm if you are still with me and if you are following at all.
Yeah, can you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, thank you so much. Now, let's take a look at just two examples of automation in business process. I think I have illustrated this a lot of time. Automated reporting. The case of you having to generate these reports every day. What about setting up an automatic reporting system that just performs this for you? Another thing is in data cleaning, automation can also come in handy when you are cleaning data. Instead of fixing errors in your data one by one manually, you can automate the process. And Excel, just like Power BI, offer us a lot of tools to handle that. That's where tools like Power Query, Power Pivot, and all that come in. So I would like to give two persons maybe like 2 minutes to maybe if you have some other in what you do currently in your job, what are some areas that you are, or what are some things that you have noticed that they are recurring? You need to do this repeatedly, and and from going by what I have explained so far, what are those ones that you think can be automated? Please, if you have anyone, if there's anyone that is willing to speak, please kindly unmute yourself, and for the next 2 minutes, you can just briefly share. Then let's move on to the next slides. Is there anyone that wants to say something?
Okay, for me, I don't really have something that I could say that I could use it for now.
Okay, all right. So, what about Norma and Valentine?
I don't know if this will apply, but like one thing I have to continuously do with my business is updating like prices of things because of the state of the economy.
Okay, okay. Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one is
but
understood.
it's not a daily thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I understand. Okay, now in that case, you're updating prices. Let's say, is it like in a worksheet, or like when you're updating those prices, are you coming to, let's say, an Excel worksheet to um, update it for every entry there, or you have just one worksheet where you can just simply plug in the prices, and then how do you normally go about it? Or is my question not
Sometimes I
clear?
may use an Excel work.
Okay.
Yes, okay. I wouldn't say I consistently use an Excel worksheet, but I do try. Well, something I do is okay. Something I would say I do is maybe record of sales on Excel, record of inquiries.
Mm,
Um, that's something I do believe.
okay. Okay. Well, what I can say now is that in this case,
Like
I
I
am
do daily. So it's like, okay, how many calls am I getting per day? But I don't know how that would apply in automation.
okay. You keep record of how many calls you get in a day, right?
Is what's it?
Yes, then that's a good opportunity
Sorry?
to actually. Yes, if you keep record of how many calls you get in a day, like you are sending this to, like you are reporting this to someone, if I'm right, right?
Sorry, I can't. The line was breaking.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry about that. So you were saying something like you keep record of how many calls you get in a day, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that could be a good opportunity to actually automate in a way, but that's if you have a way of pulling in the data from, let's say, for each call you get. Do you have a new way of tracking it, sort of? So it depends on the level of sophistication of the tools you use in your organization actually. But the second one of
Okay.
updating prices, I am not sure if that one is a good opportunity to automate because it's something that fluctuates too often. Tomorrow you may wake up and then the price has changed, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's really something that
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure it's really something that unless there's another way, another
It
place where
can.
you
Yeah.
unless there's another place where you have to populate these updated prices to somewhere that you eventually leverage. Like let's say now, instead of coming to update this price in all the different records, all the multiple records you have, right? You could just have one central place where you update this price, and then
And
connect
then it's
every
updated
other
everywhere.
yes, every other process to that particular worksheet, so that once you update that worksheet, the rest is updated. We're going to definitely see how to do this when we work on start working on Power Query and all. So thank you for that, for sharing. So I would go back to the remaining slides. So, and okay, so now it's time for us to have a quick walkthrough of some key Excel and automation features. And how we're going to do it is, first of all, I would do the demonstration, and then I would like one person to share their screen and then replicate it. So that would make it hands-on. So the rest would still follow along in the background. So we would have time for each person to do it. I hope that's good. That's good enough. Uh, then I will stop sharing for now. Stop sharing the slides. So the first thing we have here is dynamic data highlighting. So let me quickly open up the data set we are going to use, and I hope you all have your data set downloaded already because I sent it to you. I don't know if anyone has been checking the resources page because that's where you actually see everything. You'd be able to download the data and all. Be able to download the data and all that from there. So um, this is a just an example of what we're going to achieve. So let me just clear clear formats. Yeah. So we are back to what it should look like by default. So this shows a sales sample store. It's a popular data set actually, and the reason why we need to reuse it often and often is that it's an open and free data set that you can use, that most persons within the data analysis and the data science industry are familiar with. So even if you run into an issue, you could use this type of data to maybe when you're asking for help and all that, since people are already familiar with it, and it comes with different types of like it's very diverse. You Within here you will be able to see text data like we have here, ship mode. You have the dates, which is a date information. You even have a streets, that is a places. That means you can even plot maps with this. And then we even have numeric uh, data and so many other things. So that's why we made it a good option to use. So we could have different varieties here, right? And then so we will be using this a number of times during this boot camp. So what we want to do first of all is um, dynamic data highlighting. Okay, so let's assume you are the salesperson for your organization, and for each day you would want to evaluate or analyze the sales recorded the previous day, or for each week you would want to analyze the sales recorded for the previous week. You just want to quickly have a glance of the trends, to understand the trends and patterns. Did we record much sales? Did we record losses and all that? So how would you quickly do that? Just a very basic way. We are not even going to anything advanced yet. We just want to see how we can quickly have a glance through of all this. Or let's say, for instance, you have this very data set that bears information about the different customer segments you have. Now, in this case, you are serving the three different customer segments. We have the home office, the corporate, and the consumer, right? You would want to know what the sales performance, you want to see trends about different customer segments, right? You just want to have a feel of all this. How can you quickly glance through this without needing to do something um, complex? So we want to use a dynamic data highlighting to achieve that. In this case, we want to spot maybe outliers. Let's say something like an outlier is something that is a value that is significantly higher or lower than normal. So we want to spot sales that are actually very higher and significantly higher, or let's say it could even be losses. So should I say you want to, in this case, you could see that for this very sale, it was actually, the profit is actually negative, meaning that it's a loss. And then here we have positive and all that. So let me just show us one simple thing we can do to quickly have a glance of it, to quickly dynamically highlight our data, so that even while we are scrolling our worksheet, our spreadsheet, we can still be glancing through trends here, and we can easily spot out anomalies that are worth investigating further. So to highlight such trends, you would first of all go to your home tab. Okay, let's say this very sales, we want to identify very high, sales that are significantly higher than others. So we have selected this first. Let's go to the home tab, and then what do? We have something called conditional formatting. This conditional formatting tab offers you different ways to format your data so that you can easily spot out trends at a glance, right? So from here you could highlight cells, you could set up cells, rules for different cells, so that if the value in a particular cell is greater than or less than a certain value, or between certain values, or equal to, or contains, or text that contains whatever, like it's just you that would set up different rules that you want to apply. So in our case, we want to see values, sales values that are greater than average, right? So how do I go about it? For me to know the average, let's say I have, this is just a rough worksheet actually. So let's say I have a this. Let me first of all calculate the average. Okay, let's say average of this very one. Average sales. The average sales here is a 229 $229.85, right? Okay, so let me quickly spot sales that are higher than average, and so I'll go here. I will apply conditional formatting, and then I'll set
So
highlight sales rules.
I think,
Yes, I'm with you.
yeah, I didn't get how you calculated the average.
Okay, so let me repeat that. To calculate the average, remember I mentioned that Excel has a lot of functions that you can apply to. So instead of doing everything one after the other, so I will just come and type equal to, right? Then there are different functions. I'll just start typing average, and then we'll have different options. You could see that currently it's selected the first one, which is average, and then I can read more about it. Returns the average, that's the arithmetic mean of its arguments, which can be numbers or names, arrays or references. The second one is still an average A. The average, that is the arithmetic mean of its arguments, evaluating text and false arguments. There are just a lot of functions here, right? You could even apply conditions, that is average if, that is finds average arithmetic mean for the cells specified by a given condition or criteria, and all that. So we are interested in normal average that all of us know, which is a total sales divided by the number of sales, right? So if I have average, sorry, average is a, okay, let me just go back here and clear this. If I have 2, and I have 3, and I have 5, and I have 1, right? The average of these 4 numbers is supposed to be sum of these 4 numbers divided by the number of should I say number of numbers. It's a little bit of mathematics, but it's actually straightforward. So if there
No,
are, okay, I'm with you.
yeah. What I didn't get is like that average that you calculated. I understand what average is,
Oh, right, sorry,
but what I
sorry.
didn't get is that average that you calculated.
Yeah, how
What
I went
what
about.
average? What average is it? Is it the average of the whole sales
Yes,
or
the average of the whole sales. So I was just saying, in case you
in
want to,
column what? Column R.
yes, the average of all the sales here.
Okay.
So let me repeat
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So I can just get the average. Average sales, that's average of this. Okay, so I now know the average, right? So let me apply conditional formatting. Let me quickly spot out and spot sales that are higher than average. Or I think higher than average, we are going to see a lot of sales that are higher than average. Let's say 2 times higher than average. Sales that are 2 times higher than average. At least those ones are what are more sort of significant enough. So I can just come here. Let me just go back here. I can just go to the home tab and I set out this, then highlight um, sales value, right? Or I can set data bar. Like I already mentioned, you can highlight sales. There's highlight sales shows. There's sales greater than. So let's set that sales greater than. Let's it now opens up to this place. That's for more sales that are greater than, and then we will now select the value that you are measuring. So I can just select that. So it means whatever value is in this cell, right, at any point, it will always look whatever value that is in this point that is greater. I mean, whatever value that is in this very cell, that is cell W9, right, is what it will be referencing. And then I already have a formula that is ensuring that the value here is always the 2 times the average of the sales that we recorded, right? So what do you now want to do? Values that are greater than this value, they are on a positive note, so I can use green to denote that. Okay, so you see that we have a lot of values that are shaded in this color actually. That was why I even needed to raise it to ×2, because I know you're going to see it. You're likely going to see a lot of values that are greater than that average. Okay, now let's scroll down and then see. You could see that it's not really all of them that are shaded in green, right? This is our sales column. So as we scroll up, I think this data is already sorted. That's why everything is at the top, right? Most of the values that are greater than our average are at the top, right? So let's say I want to increase this to uh, 4 times greater than. You see that it's still automatic. Like I don't need to come back each time again to once I change the value here, that is my criteria. The value here will automatically highlight it, right? And this you're seeing everything at the top because I think when the last time I worked with this data, I kind of sorted it so that the high values would always be at the top, right? So this is actually a very basic automation. I mean, form of automation. But then we are still going to see a downside to this. Let's try another form of highlighting and another form of data and this thing, highlighting. Let me clear this one first. Let me clear formats. I'm sorry. Let me clear all formats. Where is that? Let me just quickly clear that. Where is that again? Okay, it's gone. The second form of highlighting I would want us to see is to quickly know when we are to quickly identify profits and losses, right? Like this profit column, I want to know or quickly spot out losses, and I mean to know when we are making profit and when we're making losses, right? I can just select this. Let me go to the same place, conditional formatting. In the first uh, example, we used highlight sales value, sales rows. In the second one, we want to apply data bar. A data bar is one that plots it in form of a bar within a cell, so that if the value is positive, it will give it a certain shade. Let's say green, but if it is negative, it will give it a kind of a red shade, right? So let's try this one, or let's define the rule here. It means in this case we want to apply a color of green. Okay, then if a value is negative, want to apply a red color to it. I think everything is already selected by default because this is a kind of a very common example. So I can set this to, let's say, green. Let me use this green. And then we could see here that whenever we have a negative value for profit, the cell is highlighted in red, right? And then the length of the bar is determined by the value itself. Like you could see that this is minus $3,839, which is higher than minus 1,811, which is that's almost more than twice the value. You could see that the length of this bar here, the length of this bar here is longer than the one here. I mean, the one here, right? So it means whenever let's say I just want to have a glance of this data, I'm just scrolling down, I can easily identify that, wow, this is a lot of loss, right? This is minus 6,000. Like I could quickly spot that, right? I could quickly spot that. But had it been I didn't do that, an option I would have done, I would have another option that would have maybe I would have explored would have been maybe to start filtering this data to create certain views. So I will still have to look at that very quickly. But as I'm scrolling through this data, it's easy for me to identify um, trends just by merely looking at it, right? Remember that what we are doing now is just like laying the foundation. Eventually, we're going to see how we can automate this process. Imagine that you imagine that for each week you are receiving the file for the previous week. Are you with me? For each week, you are receiving the sales data for the previous week. So how will you know? I mean, if you set up this kind of highlighting and all that, it means if you don't automate the process for next week, for this very present week, you are still going to have to apply this filtering and all that, which takes us, let's say if it takes us 30 seconds or even 1 minute to apply all these filters or apply all these highlights, I will still need to repeat it, which means the point of automation is not actually there. So we're going to see how we can go from basic to something more advanced. So just follow along as we move together. So we have applied the first one, the first rule that shows profit and loss. So I can even if I have, let's say I'm preparing my report in a rush, I can just quickly see this. I can even I can quickly make a sense of this, that most of the sales, although on the positive side, but still we still recorded some significantly high loss and all that. So what's the next thing I would want to apply? The next thing I would want to apply is maybe um, I'm not sure this data set is the most appropriate for this very one, but imagine that you have um, these are different ship modes, right? These are different ship modes, and you are the person in charge of um should I say the standard class ship mode? No, I'm not sure that would be a good example. Let me try something. Let me see if okay. This is a category, right? We have different categories here, and maybe you are the one in charge of technology, right? Or you are particularly interested in a particular category, so that you want to, by the time you are scrolling through this Excel worksheet, you want to keep an eye on this very category. You could see that the more I scroll, the more difficult it is for me to really distinguish. So I want to set up a certain rule that highlights or adds a particular color to that particular to anywhere such category or appears. So let me go back to this category here, and then let's go back to our highlighting, our conditional formatting, and then in this case, I want to apply colors. Sorry, color scale. No, these are the best. Okay, let's go to highlight cells rules again. Okay, let's say this category. Um, Let me try something. Format cells that contain the text technology. anywhere I see technology, I should apply kind of a green shade into it, right? So we now have technology. It means whenever I'm scrolling, I can easily see technology, right? I can easily see technology. Now, we want to even make it more interesting. We want to make it more interesting so that because we want to sort of see trends in technology within the technology class. So let me hide these two cells first so that we can have the the sales okay, let me just bring profit close to the technology column and pair them together. Let me just hide these other columns as well. So imagine now that I now have the two cells side by side, right? So I just want to see or have a sense of whether we are really making profit in this particular category because that's the category I'm interested in, right? So since I now have it side by side, I can quickly see that actually for most cases, okay, we could see that many of our we recorded a number of losses for the technology category actually. I don't know if anyone is observing with me, but although technology dominates here, but we could see that okay, let's go back to that place where we saw a very high loss of 6,000 something and let's see whether it's still which category that falls into. Don't know if I've even passed that. Let me just go back again and see if I am. Okay, now this one where we recorded 3,000 something is under technology. And then this other one where we recorded 6,000 something still under within the technology category. I don't know if anyone is following me. Are you with me? Okay, this is not technology. Hello?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I'm with you.
So please try and observe along with me. So it means that a number of our major losses were actually under the within the technology category. And okay, we have this one, which is significantly high, which is under office. Yes, we recorded losses for many other categories as well, but technology has a fair share of it too. So with this alone, I can have a kind of a quick glance through of make sense of. But then we still recorded a lot of most of our huge sales were still under technology as well. Like our top sales were still under technology as well. So to make this more interesting self, I could even format or sort this very table so that um, let's have the top uh, sorry, let's apply certain sorts so that we can have the largest value first. That is, we want to sort uh, um, um, smallest to largest, sort largest to smallest. Okay, let's sort it largest to smallest, right? Okay. Okay, so most of our large sales were actually under the technology category, as you can observe here. So everything has been sorted such that the highest profits belong to the technology category. So with this alone, I can actually say that most of our profits were recorded under the technology category as well, but we still recorded a number of significantly high losses. Now, the interesting thing here is that okay, you could see as well that technology is kind of erratic in a way. It gave us the highest um, profits, just like it's giving us the highest losses as well, right? So the the interesting thing, what I want you to observe here is that I was able to apply another form of formatting here, such that I would quickly uh, this green shade I applied here helps me to keep an eye on technology category instead of being distracted by other categories like office supplies and office supplies and what's the other one? Um, Furniture. Remember, we have furniture here, we have office supply. But by the very act of applying this um, formatting here, I can quickly focus on this technology, which is what I'm interested in. Okay, we have just created another form of highlighting. I mean, another form of a basic automation in a way. The main automation thing is yet to be seen, it would eventually enjoy the main um, automation when we are able to replicate this automatically without having to do this over and over all the time. Okay, someone's hand is up. Okay, Emmanuel, you can.
Yeah, sorry. Can you go again on how you highlighted the technology part?
Okay,
I didn't see like what you pressed.
okay, let me do that again. So let me just clear it first and clear formats. So the first thing you would do is you have to do is
Okay.
select the column. In Excel, if I want to
Okay.
select the entire thing in a column, and I believe you all know what column and row is.
Mm.
Columns are arranged side by side. Rows are arranged one under the other. Let's say top to bottom. When you are going top to bottom, I mean top to bottom, you are going moving in rows as I'm doing right now. I'm moving in rows. Now I'm in row 4, row 5. But when I'm going from left to right or right to left, I'm moving in columns. So if I want to select everything under a particular column, what I will do is I'll go to this very top bar, not this very one. I mean, not this very cell that contains data itself, but this one labeled in alphabets like O. I'll select it. Once I'm there, my pointer changes to um, an arrow pointing down, right? So I can click on that to select everything. That's the first thing you would want to do. Then you go to home, right? Click on home. You're going to see the option. You may see something slightly different depending on the version of Excel you have installed. So I will now go to conditional formatting. That's the same place we have done everything we have done so far. I'll click on it. Then I want to apply highlight cells rule. Remember, I want to set a rule that will give a certain color to the value of a cell depending on what that value is, right? So that's what we would want to do. But there are many options here you can play. The other time we did data bars. That was the one that created this very one. That was the one that created this very one. That we have green for positive values. We have red for negative values. In this case, we want to give a shade of green to technology to a particular category. So I select it, go here, conditional formatting. Then I would go here. This this text in this case. First of all, you have to take note that this is text. The formatting I want to apply in this case is different from the one I applied here because the data type here is numbers. Meanwhile, the data type here is text, right? So the formatting you apply to a number based column is going to be different from the one you're applying to numeric values. So this is a text this is a text column. So let's apply a kind of formatting that makes sense or that applies to it. So I'll go back there and then highlight sales rules, and then I would go to text that contains. Now I am now here to type the value I'm interested in. I can either type it manually. Let's say I type technology. Then this is now the value I'm interested in. Now, what is the action I want to apply to it? I want it to be colored, to be given a certain color, right? In my case, I want to apply green color. Let me just apply green, but automatically it's highlighted it in something like, should I call it pink? I'm not really good with color names and all that, but I believe you are getting the point. So here, I would want to select green fill with dark green text. I can just set it. You could see that it has updated. You see that it has updated to um to green, right? So I don't know if you are seeing my screen. I don't know if this is good enough. So then I will just come and select
Yeah, yeah.
OK. I'll just select OK. So this way I now have it highlighted. Is that clearer?
Yeah. Okay, so another part I want to get is that how were you able to now arrange it in terms of the highest profit to the lowest profit?
Okay, that one is now under
Like
sorting.
like
Okay, you can
okay,
see. Oh, sure.
where did you get it from? Like
Okay. So to do that,
Huh?
yes, I would address that now. To do that, I want you people to take note of this tab. As long as you're going to analyze, you are going to do anything advanced in data, advanced analysis, as long as you want to apply something more than, or do something with Excel more than the average user, you are definitely going to work a lot of times with this tab, which is data tab, and then even the formulas here, right? These two tabs are very, very important, so you have to keep an eye on. And then this developer tab as well, you would use it. So to answer your question, anytime you want to do in anything like manipulating the data, or sort of the arrangement or the ordering of data, or just you want to work on the data itself, you go to the data tab. That's the first way to format. You go to the data tab, then you will see filter here, right? If I click here, I have removed the filter. Those things that look like funnel, let me go back. Those things that look like drop down, and then those things that look like drop down shows that I already applied, or I already enabled the filtering option. But then you could see that this one, in addition to having this drop down icon, this triangle, it also has an arrow pointing down. It shows that in addition to enabling the filtering options, I have applied a filter to that particular column. In this column, I did not apply any filter. Like in this one, I did not apply any filter. So it's just showing the drop down. But in this case, in this very column, you could see this arrow pointing down in addition to this triangle, right? So that's the first thing. So let me just remove it and show you how I did it again. So I can just click on this. So when you have your file opened, you can just simply come to the data tab, and then, okay, first of all, you have to select everything. Come to this leftmost side of the screen where you can see this triangle. This is what I mean. Come to this very place where you can see this triangle. Click it, and you have selected everything. Or you can simply click Ctrl A to select all. Then you now come to the data tab. Come to the data tab here. Then click on filter. Now you've not applied the filter, but you have enabled it. So you now come to the column you are interested in. In my case, I'm interested in profits column. So I click on it, and then sorting is under this option. What is going on? Okay, there's a lot of values here. Okay, it's gone. Okay, so sorry about that. To take some time. Okay, so I can sort in two different ways. Either I sort from the largest to the lowest, or to the smallest, or from the smallest to the largest, right? So currently, or the last time we did it, we sorted from the largest to the smallest. Now let's do it in reverse order. Let's sort from the smallest to the largest. So I will select this one. You see that there's a reversal now. We now have, maybe I'm interested in seeing the highest loss we recorded. You can see that I have applied the filter, right? Is that clear now? Hello, Emmanuel. Is that clear now?
Yeah, but can you go back? Yeah. Can you go back? I just forgot where you went to again.
Don't worry, you are still going to have a lot of
Like,
time. Don't worry, let me do it again. You just go to the data. First
okay.
of all, select everything.
Uh,
Select everything. Nice.
uh-huh.
Control A, or come here and click on this.
Yeah.
Then go to data. Then you see filter. If you click on it,
Filter.
yes,
Okay.
if I click on it, we're going to see a gray shade around this box, like a gray box, as you are seeing. So it shows that filter is already applied. If I go back and I click it, I will disable it. Currently, this shade is on. If I click on it, I've removed it, so it's off.
Okay.
So I'll need to do that again.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've enabled filter, but I've not applied any particular filter to any column. So in this case,
Okay.
this is a numeric column as it contains numbers.
Okay, I've got it.
So I would want to do it largest to smallest.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean
So
sorting it.
when you
There, I'm with you.
Okay.
And with
So
it,
I'm thinking when you do it does other rule like other following rules. Hope they change with it.
yes, just watch, keep an eye on this one, this column M.
Okay.
Let me apply another filter. Currently it's showing
Okay.
smallest to largest. Let me apply largest to smallest. It was previously east, but now it's
Okay.
central. Did you notice that? It's now showing central, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
kind of filter you apply because this is a numeric column. I could also do other things like let's say I want to show only the top 10 values. I'm not. You see that this is taking a lot of time to load self. Imagine I have millions of rows. I would want
Yeah.
to apply other filters, let's say number filters. I would want to apply things like numbers that values that are equal to or does not equal to or greater than or top 10. Let's say top
Mm,
10 or below average. Like you can apply a lot of logic here. Let's try top 10.
okay.
Top 10 items. Yes. No, 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 not top 10 items. Okay, I want to do top 10 or bottom 10, right? Okay, let's do top 10. I would only see this top 10. Can you now see that we now have from column from row 2 to row 11? That's I'm seeing a subset of my data, right? That's what filtering does for you. I hope that's clear now. Let me go back.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah,
the
it's very clear. Thank you.
all right, you're welcome. The other one, I think we have done dynamic data highlighting. We have done, color coding. Color coding is what we just did here when we applied a green shade. I can still apply additional color coding. Let me give office supplies a different color so that I can easily identify it. Go back to home, conditional formatting, and I want to go to highlight sales rules, then text that contains, let me call it, I can just command, instead of typing it directly, I can just command, and let's say I want to select office supplies. Then let me go back here. I want to give it a light red to differentiate it from the other one, right? So I'm now seeing technology in green, office supply in red, and so on and so forth. Remember that there are still other categories like furniture that do not have any shade. So you can just go on and on. Imagine I think the best opportunity, the best filter, the best kind of coding I should have even applied is to furniture. You see that we have just few instances of furniture, and it will be difficult for me to scroll, to identify it while I scroll. So I could even look at it the other way around. Maybe I'm interested in categories that are not so common, not so popular, but they are of interest to me. So I can just apply this color to it, right? To it to quickly see it. That's what color coding does for you. And then the other thing is macro. Okay, we'll get into macro. Macro is macros are just like some when you perform certain actions in Excel, it records the steps you took to perform those actions, right? Such that it records it and stores it so that the next time you want to perform those actions, you don't need to retake them again. You can just call on certain commands and then those actions are applied. So when we are going to demonstrate macros very soon. So I would not want to go into this now. The other thing is by setting data validation rules. Remember, we are still trying to automate certain things. Data validation rules are usually come in handy when you want to minimize chances of errors in your data. Now, it is expected that if you have a column that keeps track of the age of customers, you can't have a negative, okay, let's say name, age. You can't have a negative value. Maybe someone will now come and type minus 2 years. Does it make sense that someone is minus 2 years? Let's say Emmanuel, sorry, it may not be your own Emmanuel. But let me just use something like, and then someone will come and type -2 years. In data, when you're working with data, you're going to be seeing a lot of errors like this. So how do you now avoid it? One way to avoid it is by correcting it when it has occurred. But another way to avoid it is by setting measures that would not let that occur in the first place, right? and that is where data validation rules come in. So we want to set certain data validation rules that would help ensure that the value in a particular column is reasonable. It is not normal. Let's say you have, let's say the least product in your organization costs 5 million naira. It will not make sense coming one day to come and see 5,000 naira in that particular cell. It's definitely an error, or there has to be an explanation for that. You can set measures to avoid that from occurring, and then that's where data validation comes in. Let's do another thing. Let's call it, okay, age, name age, should I call it a level of study, and then another thing like CGPA. This is now for students. Maybe you are working with student record. Okay, so Emmanuel, Valentine, Norma, Kenneth. How many are we here? I don't want to omit anyone. We are 4 for now. Nice. Okay, so I feel I have everyone along. Okay, Emmanuel is supposed to be 20. Sorry, these are just numbers I'm populating manufacturing. Let's say 27, 24. Let's say just random numbers, 28, 20, whatever. Okay, this is what he should be, right? And then level of study, let's say 500 level, or 500, 300, oh sorry, 300, 200, 100, and so on. Then CGPA, we have 5.0, and so on and so forth. Okay, in terms of CGPA, we are using a scale of 5.0. That is on a 5 unit scale, right? So the value here can only be between 0, and 5.0, right? We can't have negative CGPA. We can't have values more than that. So it's a good opportunity to apply data validation rule so that we don't have this. And then the highest level of study we can have in the institution is let's say 500 level. There's the highest course there, it takes 5 years to complete. And age, the minimum age for admission is 16 years. So we should not have age less than that. So we can set up those validation rules to handle these errors up front. So the first thing we want to do is to make sure that the age here is greater than or equal to 16, right? So I will select it. I will now go to data. Then I will go to data validation. You'll see it here depending on your version of Excel. Under here, you can see when I come here, under this text to column bar, like under this very cluster here, you are going to see this toggle button. But if you are using other versions of Excel, you may even see it broadly written data validation. So I can click on data validation. Then it gives me different options to set those rules. Now it says allow. What type of value am I going to allow? First of all, the number here should be numeric value. Someone should not wake up one day and type 15 or 25 instead of 25 as a number. Remember, Excel would run, you cannot, this is now letters instead of numbers. It is an error. Your data may not, it will give an issue when you want to analyze the data. So we want to avoid all this in the first place. So it must be a numeric value. Okay, I can see someone's hand is up. Please, I would quickly get to you. So I can set the data validation. Click on that, data validation. Okay, the values I'm looking for are that they must be whole number, right? Don't tell me you're 15.5 years. Now let's set the logic. It should be a value minimum of, that is a greater than or equal to, the minimum years is a 16, right? I've set the minimum here. So I can even go on to customize by entering an input message and error alert. Input message will now be like a age in years. Enter your age or whatever. Enter how old are you? It could be something like how old are you? Okay, I can even go on and say error alert. When a value that does not fall within, when an error and an error value is entered, this is what the alert and the actions we can now take to handle that. We have three options. It's either we stop them from entering that value, or we warn them, or we give additional information. In this case, we want to stop them if the age does not fall within the class we're interested in. We would not want to accept that value in the first place. We have to fix it. So I'll tell it, I will put let's say input error, error, error. Age cannot be less than, age cannot be less than 16 years, right? So I'll click OK. All right, so you could see age. Okay. Now I will now come back here one early morning, and then maybe due to one thing or the other, I'm not in the right frame of mind. I will now come and try and enter 14 for someone in 500 level, for crying out loud. Thank you for Excel will not even let me do that because I've set measures to avoid that. So you could say that these are key ways to avoid errors. I mean, to maintain the integrity of our data, right? So it now says age cannot be less than 16 years, right? It describes what this thing. Then, okay, it now gives me the option to retry. When I now enter 45, wow, good, we are good to go, right? So before I proceed, let me hear from two hands are up. Okay, so Valentine, you can unmute yourself. Hello, Valentine, your hand is up. Okay, I don't know if you are hearing me. Okay, Norma, you can. Hello.
Um, what I wanted to ask was, I kind of lost sight where you were putting in the data validation. I wasn't sure what you clicked.
Okay, when I was okay, all right, I would still do that again.
Yeah. So I know I'm in data, but it's just that little process to get to the validation.
Okay, no problem.
I was a bit
I'll
late. Oh,
address that.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Valentine, your hand is up. Hello, Valentine. I'm not sure you are, or I don't know. Maybe you can't hear me also. Anyways, you can still draw my attention back because we can't hear you. So what I did is I needed to, everything is done under the data tab, right? But first of all, I would have to select the column. So let me use another example to address that. Let me use the CGPA column to address that, CGPA. Then I would have to select the column like we did before. Then I would click on data. Then I will go to data validation, right? Remember, these are the steps. Select the column, click on the data tab, click on the data tab. Then, depending on your version of Excel, you would see it either as data validation broadly written, or you can see it here. Like you should just know that you have to do some kind of a guess. Like you have to, when you hover on it, you are going to see the option that that particular thing holds. Like here now, I could see what if analysis. This is what if analysis. Even if it was not written broadly, right? When I hover over it, I would see it. But you know that it's within the data tools group. These we have groups here. We have queries and connections. We have get and transform data. We have data tools. We have forecast. We have outline. Depending on the organization depends on the version of Excel you are using though. So I'll click on that. Then I'll click on the first option here is data validation. So the validation I want to set now is that the CGPA must not be less than 0 and must not be greater than 5.0. So let me use that. Any value outside of this is not allowed. So I'll click on, let me go back to here, setting. The value I want to enter is any value. No, I don't want any value. Whole number, yes, yes, yes. But then I need, in this case, I need value between certain numbers. So I can set custom. Let's say it will now be custom. Is that the best thing? Okay. Well, I need, it could be decimal. I'm not sure custom is the best option here, but let me select decimal because you can have 5 point something. So we'll now have, when I select this, the value you select here will determine what you see in the next field. Like in this case now, this one is blanked out, so I cannot edit it. But when I select decimal, for instance, it now prompts me further. It should now be values between, or this is where you now apply the logic, right? It's either you're looking for values between, or values not between, or values equal to, or values not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. These are the logics that you can apply. So in our case, what makes sense is values between. Then we now have the minimum value here is 0.0. The maximum value here is 5.0, right? That is for a standard CGP as using the 5-point grade system. So for me to make life easier for the person I would be using this very file as a template, I can just let them know the mistake they made so that they can easily debug and easily know and fix their mistake. So I could now say CGPA. I could just, okay, or let me just say enter CGPA, or let me just say CGPA. What is your CGPA? Now here under the error alert, I would now, this is where I now enforce the action, right? I can stop values less than or equal to, values that fall outside this thing, or I can just warn them, or I can provide additional information. So it will now, I will now put something like the title here for the error alert will now be should I say error or input error? Input error. I think that's more straightforward. Input error, right? CGPA must be between 0 and 5.0. CGPA must be a number between 0 and 5.0. So when I do it, okay, so here now, to now enter the value now, here when I click on this cell here, it will now ask me what is your CGPA. So I will now mistakenly enter 50. Wow, interesting. All right, thanks to Excel, at least even if I did not detect this mistake by myself, Excel has helped me fix this error. Maybe the person wanted to enter 5.0 but mistakenly entered 50, omitting the 0. So in my case, I have entered 5.0. So you see that I was able to scale through. So I can now enter -3. Wow, this one is owing the department. All right, you cannot owe a department CGPA, so fix your error. All right, so I will just simply remove that, and every value in this column must be reasonable, so it will save me time from coming to manually fix these errors later on, or even going to make decisions with these errors carried over, right? Even if I enter a value here 7 or 6, it still holds as long as it is within this column. The error must be, this thing holds, right? I hope we are following up to this point. Hello, are we together?
Yes.
Okay, we have a lot of things to achieve today. We still have template systems, so I would have to run faster because time is our time is fast spent. We have template systems. Okay, a template system comes in handy. Let's say now I've taken my time to set up all these rules as the person in charge of it. That's the manager or the supervisor, the person managing the team. I have taken my time to define these rules, and then I want to save this very file as a document, a template, a reusable template, so that any other person using this would not have to set these rules over and over. And the whole essence of setting these rules in the first place is so that I can reuse it later, right? So I don't need to, I would not want to come and avoid errors in one worksheet for a particular week, and then the next week I will allow that error to occur again. It doesn't make sense. So the best thing I could do is just to save this as a template. So I can click here, save as, and then Excel offers us a lot of options. Let me just save it as a, and that is, I can just save it as a template. Let me call it reporting template. Okay, so I can now click on data. I mean, file type. I save as type. Then I will see different options. Just take your time to go through it. You could see that, okay, we have a macro enable template. That's not what we want. We're looking for Excel template, right? Which is .xlt, right? This is what we want. So I can just simply select this as a template, right? Okay, I think this is for compatibility purpose. This is older version. So I can just click on this one, Excel template, this first one, instead of this one. So I can click on this template. So guess what will happen? The moment I save it like this, let me close out this file. Let me close out this file and open it next time. Let's assume I'm opening it another time, or another day, for another report. So where is my file? Where is the reporting template? Where did I save it? Where was that? Ah, should be under data set. Mix up. Can't see where I saved it. Okay, that was an error though. So I think we have to redo that very quickly. Okay, sorry, we have to repeat that. I'm not sure I saved it very well. So let me go back to dataset and dataset we are using. Super samples. Okay. Okay. So let me. Oh God, it's gone. What happened? Let me see if I can retrace it. Okay. Okay. Yes. This is it. It's still here. Reporting template. So I would not even need to do that. Let me just simply open up Excel as a normal. Let me open Excel, and then next time I want to create this thing, a report, I will just open up Excel, and then I will go to my this thing preset. You can see that I can see it here directly, right? Or I can click on templates. It's going on. Okay, personal. It's not here. Where is that? Okay, well, for now we'll handle. Let me just consider pinning this one so that I don't need to start looking for it next time. This is the reporting template here. Let me just pin it here so that next time I open Excel, I don't have to start looking at it the way I'm doing now. Okay, so I've pinned it here to the top. The next time I open it, I should see it. So if I come here, I can see it. I've pinned it already. So let me open it. Now, guess what? I'm modifying this data now. I'm entering the CGPA for normal, which is a very smart 5.0. Interesting. Then Kenneth, I would say I'm smart too. Okay, I'll give myself 5 points. Okay, for the sake of Valentine and Emmanuel. Okay, Emmanuel is also smart. All of us are going to have 5.0. So let me just put 5.0 for everyone so that we will all be happy. 5.0. Interesting, really smart kids. Okay, there's no error here. I want to save this file. Let me save it. Why did this modify? This is supposed to save as mix up somewhere. Mix up somewhere. Maybe there's a step I missed.
I think Kenneth hand is up.
Sorry? Valentine.
Kenneth is raising his hand.
Kenneth. Valentine, his hand has been up. I don't know. We wanted him to speak then, but we could not hear him. So if you can hear us now, maybe you can unmute yourself and say something. Hello, Valentine. We can't hear you.
You people can hear me now.
We can hear you now.
So, though the question I wanted to ask, we have passed that level already because I was using the system, so I was trying to speak through the system. You people are not hearing me, so but we have passed that stage.
You
If
can still
I
ask.
should ask that question, it means
No worry, you can still ask.
no, it's not in this very phase. So it means you have to go back to the other one you passed. Just leave about it.
Oh well.
But another one I wanted to ask on this one, but from what you are demonstrating, I actually understand it because I wanted to ask that if you are like validating this data validation, and then
Yes.
from the rules you said, maybe if you give somebody this template to work, whether the same rules will still be affected there in the person's template. But from what you just did here, I come to realize that it will still be the same thing.
Okay. Yes, it's
Yeah.
supposed to be the same thing. It's supposed to be the same
So
thing.
I thank you.
All right, you're welcome. I'm trying to fix an error because I'm trying to fix an error here. So let me know what is going on. I'm not getting what I'm expecting to get. Hmm, custom office templates. Let me save it as yes, it's supposed to be save templates for God's sake. Let me just call it reporting template soon. Let me save it here. Okay. Okay, reporting template soon. Okay, we have okay, we're still for let me open it again. There's just a little issue I want to fix. Okay, this reporting template soon. Okay, let's wait for that to open up. Done. All right, thank you. This is what I want. So what I was trying to demonstrate all this while, I fixed the issue, is that after setting up these rules, remember there are rules I have applied to these columns you are seeing here, the age column, the CGPA column. I want to share this with others so that we can use this as our template for each week. And I would not want these errors that we fixed to repeat. So this is for week one. I made this the default template. So for the next week, I now shared this file with someone else in the team to work with it, right? So I will just it's clear. So in that case, for that particular week, the person can now enter the values, right? In the template. I may not even have values here yet, but I've set these rules. I may not have the values here yet, but I've set these rules, right? Okay, so let me clear the content here. Oh God. Right click. Okay, let me clear the contents. So it's now the turn of another person coming after me to take up this work from me for the next week. So the person will come and enter age 34, which is good, 23, which is good. I'm sorry, 6, which is wrong. Okay, let's retry. 24, then 25, and so on and so forth. So level of study. Level of study is let's say 500, 300. Okay, let's say 300. Let's just make things easier. So let's just populate down 500, 400. Okay, let's just drag down to few 300, 200. Then CGPA 5.0, 4.9, 4.8, which is also very good. 4.7, right? Remember, these are now different entries. Let's even say these are different names or different ridge numbers. So by the time I'm saving this, the error handling rules that I've set here are still effective. But for me to not overwrite it, let me try and save. Instead of saving it to the old file, I am now generating a different file here altogether, right? So I can call it let's say report for semester 2. Report for semester 2, and I'll save it under the same folder that contains the other one, which is rough work, right? So I'll save it. So it's now going to generate for me an Excel file. Let's go back to it. This is a report for semester 2. Take note, the file type here is different from the file that we use to generate it. Is a reporting template 2, which is .xltx, right? But the new file that was generated is .xlsx. So the template here has been designed such that I can reuse it multiple times. I don't need to. And anytime I use it to generate a report or whatever, the errors, the measures I have applied to handle those errors are not going to, are still going to be effective. I think this is what Valentine was asking. So that is how templating works, and it's still another form of automation in its own full right. Okay, so the other thing I'll quickly touch on before someone shares their screen is we are not going to Power Query pivot table and the VBA. We will, sorry, we will, this is not part of it. We will have to, in a way, touch on those ones later on because those are advanced. We are going to build on what we have done so far to demonstrate those ones. So at this point, I would want one of you to share their screen while I watch. You can open the superstore, the sample superstore data set, and apply color coding and data bar to the two columns that just like we did some moments ago. So who would that be? Remember, this is an opportunity to learn. Even if you are not sure, just try. We are here to know this. Thank you. I'm waiting for the person that will volunteer to do this. All right, let's go ahead. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen. Okay, your hand is up, Valentine. Right? I hope I'm no longer sharing screen, right? Your hand is up, Valentine. You can unmute yourself. Hello? Okay, I can't hear you. In case you are saying something. Okay. Emmanuel, can you help us? Or I don't know. Norma, are you uh,
Okay, I was
I'm
using my
using two
phone.
different
using
devices.
your phone? Okay. Sorry,
Yeah,
you
I'm
said
using two different devices. If I can turn on my camera,
fine. Whichever one is
I can show you.
convenient for you.
I want to. Okay,
No,
Let me see.
Valentine, your hand is still up, but we can't hear you. I don't know if you're saying something.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Good one.
Okay, the thing is, I'm using system. So if I want to speak through there, you people are not hearing me, except I will log in back with my phone.
Wow. Maybe it's the mic that's having an issue.
So I wanted to pull out the data to do the experiment, but I don't actually know where to get the data from.
I thought I shared it in the group. I did.
On the group, right?
Yes, I shared the link to where you can get all the resources, and I'm sure not many of you tried to. I don't know.
No, I know the thing is,
Mm,
I'm using system and I didn't use WhatsApp on this system.
okay,
So I said maybe, so that's the challenge.
okay. Let me see if it's possible to share it from here, from this place. Let me see now.
Okay.
I'm not seeing the share. But
I can't share it, but I can walk you through what I would do if I was highlighting it with a different color.
okay, all right. Someone's
Um,
background is really noisy. Valentine, your back. Can you mute now? Because your background is very noisy. Okay. So, all right. Walk me through. Let me share my screen again.
okay, so let's say I want to.
Can you see my screen now?
Um,
Okay, sorry.
no, not yet.
Can you see it now?
No.
Really? That I'm sharing. Sorry.
Okay, let's say I want to
Sorry, let me
highlight. Okay.
just share again. Please let me know once you can see it.
Okay.
It's supposed to be showing now. I don't know. You're yet to see it.
Mm-mm.
Wow. Okay, who else can confirm if they can see my screen? Let me know if I have to rejoin. Maybe it's my network. Who else is seeing my screen or cannot see my screen?
Your screen is not showing.
Okay,
Okay, I can see it now.
okay. Thank you. So we can proceed. So guide me through, please. This is let me clear the.
Okay, let's.
Oh, wait. I'll do an expo now. If you see what I'm doing now, maybe that will be an expo. All right, okay, well, you can cheat me. It's fine. It's a part of learning. Let me clear all everything we have done so far. Let me clear it. Mm, oh my God. Okay, so we are back to it. This one is not even cleared yet. So just give me time to clear this too. Okay, so we are good to go now.
Okay, so let's say I wanted to um, highlight the office supplies with um, ooh, I was already I was kind of using the other one we were doing, but let's say I want to highlight maybe office supplies.
Okay.
I would start with conditional formatting,
So where will I see conditional formatting?
highlight in
Where? Home. Okay.
home, yeah, then highlight cell rules, and maybe I would um, use fake.
Where?
Maybe I want to check something, for instance, like a price that is less than or greater than, let me say, 1,000. Maybe in this instance, that's what I want to check.
Okay. So the thing is, yeah, I think you're mixing the two operations up. You have made a nice attempt, but remember
Okay,
that the column you selected is a, you said office supplies, right? Which is a text-based column. It's in a different column, and then you're talking about price, right? Price is
okay,
another column entirely.
okay,
So let's maybe we can just focus on one first. I just want us to be able to code
okay.
this.
Office,
I want office
okay,
technology to have its color, office to have its color, and
okay,
furniture to have its color. So there are, if you
okay.
check
So
now,
we're
there are,
doing office supplies.
mm,
So it's a text-based column,
mm,
and
okay,
I'm going to insert text and um, format cells that contain the text office.
okay. Can you tell me exactly how I can do that?
Yeah, you select sorry, conditional formatting, then you go down to highlight cell rules
Hmm.
and you click on the text that contains,
Okay,
then you insert it, you type the word office supplies, and then we're using the red,
okay.
light red, yeah, and then we click OK.
I've done that, but nothing changed. So what did you get wrong? Can anyone
So
guess?
one sec.
She's just the one leading, but please, it's for all of us. Please. So others can observe and point out the step. There was an important step she missed.
I missed a step. I think
Yes.
to click on the category
Click here.
first.
Here.
Um, yes,
Okay.
the whole line.
All right. So where will I now click to get the whole line?
You drag it.
Oh, really? Thank you. Okay. Ah, you've just screwed up our data. Thank you very much. You made a nice attempt. You made a nice attempt.
Okay, I missed something. I missed
Yes,
something,
you
but
missed the very first step. The first one is what you
okay.
miss. So first of all, you select the entire column, and when you are selecting, you don't select cell value. You select the column header, like this very one here. If I want to
Yeah.
select the entire
Okay,
row,
the
I'll come
column
to
on top.
this one. Yes, if I want to select a row, I'll come to this one and click here. I've selected everything. But if I click here, I've only selected this cell. Or imagine I click here,
Okay.
I've selected it. The same applies to column. So I'll just click here to select. For every other
Oh
step,
yes, I was going to ask you that question before, but I forgot. So,
okay,
so thank
every
you
other
for
step
clarifying.
was correct.
Sorry, I didn't get something.
Okay, what was that?
I didn't get something.
So
Okay.
you
So
click the alphabet
let's
or the number.
Yes, you click the alphabet to select the entire column. So Emmanuel, you
so what are we clicking first? Yeah, is it the one that that can highlight everything, that's control A, or the category?
okay? No, you are clicking the one that can highlight everything, which is this. That is no. You don't click Control A. If you click Control A, you are highlighting the entire data.
Everything.
So
Okay,
that's not what
okay,
you want to do.
okay,
You are interested in formatting a column,
okay.
right? Column. So you just select
Equal.
this. Yes. So her step was right.
Okay, okay.
So all right, it's your turn, Emmanuel. How can we make this profit to be in such a way that values greater than zero would have their color, and the ones greater than less than zero will have their color? Or let's say we want to only spot negative values. meaning values less than 0 have their shade. So how do we achieve that? I've already selected the column for you, so you can guide me through on the next steps because I don't know how to achieve that.
Okay, I should tell you.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So what do I do next?
Okay, you highlighted it already, right?
I've
Okay, you go to data,
okay.
and click on it.
I've done that. Where?
Then you then the data validation,
Okay.
and click the data validation now.
Okay. I've done that.
So sorry, can you repeat what am I supposed to do again? Sorry.
Okay. I want to have the green, I mean the negative. We under profit we have negative values, and other times we have positive values.
Okay.
What happened here?
Mm-hmm.
We have lost. So, what changed our data? Okay, yeah, it's still there. I think I sorted it. So want to be able to have numbers that are greater than, I mean less than 0. We want to give them their color. Only numbers greater than less than 0. There's any number that bears negative, like this one. We want to give it a shade.
Okay. Can you give me a minute?
No, I won't give you a minute.
Um. Okay. Okay.
Sorry, are you joining with two devices?
Good.
Can you unmute one device?
Yeah, I just submitted.
Sorry, mute rather. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, highlight it. Highlight that.
See,
Highlight the column.
there is room to fail actually here because you are learning it for the first time, I believe. So please, if you don't know, just
Okay.
tell
Yeah.
me you don't understand, and I can tell you that step. Then you now mention the other steps that you can remember. So just feel free.
Okay. Let me just try it. Yeah. Highlight it.
Okay. Okay, I've done
Then
that.
conditional formatting.
Okay. Where will I see from conditional formatting?
That's at the data now. Data.
Norma, is it true?
Wait.
It's in home.
All right, thank you. It's in home. Okay. Then conditional
Okay.
formatting. Then what else?
Yeah. Click on it.
Okay. Where? What exactly? There are many things I can click on here. Which one?
Um. Color scales.
Mm-hmm.
Uh. Go through one of them. Let me see what to bring out.
Okay. This is it.
Oh wait. Go to clear rules.
Hmm? Clear rules.
Okay.
I think you have to go
No,
there.
don't worry. Don't worry.
More rules. Oh, okay, clear rules. Clear rules will clear everything. And there are no rules applied yet. So
Um. Okay. Try new rule. New rule. New rule.
new rule. Okay. We are here.
Okay. I think. Mini. You said you should highlight what again?
I
The
want
one
to
that
highlight.
is negative, but
Yes. Yes.
okay. So click on the lowest value. Lowest value should be. Oh God.
Okay. No problem. Don't pressure
I
yourself.
think
Now.
I'm
You
confused
figure
at
it
this
out.
point. So.
Okay. Who will help him out?
Hey, good. Andrew. Someone should help me.
Help me, help me. Who is willing to help? Oh, Valentine, are you still with us? Can you work with Emmanuel to move us beyond this? I think we've already spent the time for today. Oh.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let me try also.
All right, we're waiting for you.
Okay, I'm
Please,
starting from where you stopped.
sorry?
I like to start where you stopped.
No, 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 no. You can just start all over. But I think he missed some steps.
Maybe you can play the role now so that.
Yes, there's no road applied for this. We're interested in this column.
Okay. So I want you to highlight where we have city up to
Hmm?
product ID so that we'll hide it.
Sorry? Okay, I'll hide it. Okay.
Yes. Just where we have a product city to product ID.
But any need for that? We're only interested in this column though. So I'm not sure there's need to
Okay.
hide this column.
So firstly, you say what am I supposed to do there? Let me hear it.
Whenever a value is negative, like in this case now, let me bring it up. Let me smallest to largest. Whenever a value is negative, we want to give it a red this thing. But if it is positive, just leave it as it is. Because we
Okay.
want to have all these things colored in red, giving a red shade to them. But the ones below them, which
So
are
let's
opposed,
go to home.
okay. Sorry, I will end this call by 10:15. Okay, no, okay, let's say 10 to 20 so that we can have by 10:15 we'll end this demonstration, but by 10 to but from then we can ask questions, then we'll end it by that time. So look at it.
Okay, click on conditional formatting.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to color scale. Okay.
That was same place Emmanuel took us to, and we missed
Okay,
part.
let me see that highlight text rules. Let me see.
Okay. Okay. Okay, let
Okay,
me save.
click on text that contains.
No, that will not give us the answer. So I think because of time, I would want to let me just take it off from here. So we're almost there, but remember the instruction. We want to highlight numbers less than 0. So we already at highlight cells row. So click on less than. Then this is the value we're interested in. The value is 0. So just enter 0 here. Anything, any value less than 0 is negative already. Then we want to give it a red highlight, a red field. Or let me even give it a custom this thing. Red uh, let's say field. Let me give it a very dark one. Or this one that looks like blood. Wow. Okay. Then I can also make it bold. Yes, can make it bold. Then I can click on OK. Okay. So we have achieved that. Remember now, if I scroll up, if I scroll down, the moment I get to positive numbers, the highlights is no longer there, right? I hope you are getting it. You're getting the logic.
Yes,
Can you go again?
we've
Okay.
gotten.
What we did was to set this different from the other one whereby we just made it such that if the number is positive, give it a green bar. If it's negative, give it a red. But in this case, we're only interested in negative ones. Hence, we made it such that only the negative values have this red background. But when I scroll down rather, and start getting towards positive, like any number less than zero have red. So you could say that these ones that are zero don't have any shading. And then these ones that are greater than zero also don't have these red backgrounds. And remember, we're interested in this column, right? So we have achieved the goal. So depending on what you want to achieve and what you want to see, you can set your rules, right? So thank you for that. Thank you all for participating in the interactive session. So this time for questions and answers. I mean, we have 9 minutes to ask questions. We could not really exhaust everything, but no problem. These are things we are still going to work on over along the line. So we will be building on. I mean, starting from where we stopped today. Okay, yes, I think we did. Because this is just what we would have done. Yeah, this is what we would have done. We have done data validation rules. We have done color coding. We have done dynamic data highlighting. Right. Okay. So the ones we could not touch are pivot tables, Power Query, macros, and VBAs. Yeah. So I think we made some progress. So please, if you have a question, raise your hand up, and then we will address that. Then we end the call as soon as possible. Anyone that wants to speak can unmute themselves. Yes, you can just go on and
Okay.
speak. Right?
My question is, when you were calculating the average, there are other averages that came out like average ifs, and many others. So my question is, when are we supposed to use such functions?
Okay, you are supposed to use such functions. It depends on there are close to more than even 300 formulas in Excel. So the function you are going to use depends on your own use case. And this class is not actually on Excel functions per se, but the functions will depend on the actual thing you want to achieve. Okay, let's see if we can play around with something like average if um, average equals average if. Okay, so first of all, if you come to this function helper tool, click on it, you're going to see options. You're going to see a breakdown of like any function you're not so clear about. Click on it, you're going to see values. So first of all, the thing is, in this case now, if I put my mouse or cursor inside any of this box, if I look down, I'm going to see instructions. I mean the description of it. Like now, I am expected to enter values within a range, right? And then range is the range of cells you want evaluated. So in my case now, it could be sales, right? Then criteria. Criteria is the condition or criteria in the form of a number, that is expression or text, that defines which cells will be used to find the average. Yeah, then average range are the actual cells to be used to find the range. If omitted, the cells in range are used. Okay, now let's try something. Let's restore back our sales column that we hit that time. All right. Yeah, this is a column. We want to calculate average if the sales value is greater than 1 million. No, 1 million will be too high. Or let's say we want to calculate average profit if the profit is greater than or equal to 0. Like we don't want to calculate negative profit. We want to omit values that are negative. I don't know if anyone is following me. Please let me know. So let's apply the function.
Yeah.
Will now be like equal to average average if, then I will select the range, then I'll put comma. What's the criteria? Then okay, let's set I've not used this function before, but let's try something and see if it will work out. The criteria is should I say um mm, should I say greater than, okay, let me um I think there's a function that can give me, okay, let me see if I can get a function that can give me values greater than, equals, greater than. No, I don't have that function. Equals, what function can I use now? I'm trying to think about something. I don't have such function here. Okay, let me see. What else can I try now? Equals, um okay, let me lower, no, lower may not make sense here. Equals left len, no. Okay, okay, maybe you could just do a simple search for the function that will give us value greater than a certain thing, and that's where you have to go back to the documentation, because I don't have the function at hand right now. So I can just do a quick search of excel function excel function for values greater than, excel formula for values greater than, okay, let's say greater than 0. Okay, we have count. Okay, the formula is counter if, mm, count if, what I'm seeing here, as if it is correct. mm, Greater than, what is the formula? Greater than 0. Okay, I think there's a function like that. Okay, equal to greater than 0. There's an error. Okay, well, I may not be able to provide the answer at the moment, but you have to just know that there are so many functions in Excel, and then depending on what you want to achieve, you would first have to check, um, perhaps check the documentation and then apply the particular rule, because there are several functions, and it's not really possible to have all these things uh, um, handy at all. So what I would do now is, maybe in our next class we'll be able to address that. Thank God we have many other sessions to come. So we have Excel documentation. Oh, sorry, documentation. There's Excel function documentation from Excel, from Microsoft website itself. So from here we have Excel functions in alphabetical order. Like, you have all the functions. From here you can just open it and then read through this um, um, docs, and the particular function you're interested in, just get through it. So please remind me in our next class. We would do something similar that would address the question you asked. I hope that's fine.
It's all right. Thank you.
Okay, it's supposed to be fine by now. Okay, so our time is already spent, but I will spare another 1 minute if anyone. Please, if you have, maybe you can actually leave the call now, because we are done with the main business of the day. But if you have another question, we can spare the next couple of minutes to address it. Anyone? Okay, maybe in the next 30 seconds. If
No,
not,
I don't have.
okay. Norma, do you have any question?
No, no question for now.
Okay. Before we end the call, I would
Maybe
like
when I
to.
go through it and next call.
All right. Before we end it, please,
Alright.
I would appreciate your feedback. People are the very first cohort, and we are actually gathering as much data as possible to improve. And then, so if you have some feedback to share, then we would really appreciate it. If you were able to follow along in the sessions, and you would say you gained value from today's class, which is spending the last 2 hours, almost 2 hours 30 minutes, if it was worth it, then, or you have some areas that you would want us to improve upon in the next class, please point it out. We would really appreciate that. So, and I don't know, I'm giving like 30 seconds if anyone has anything to say. And this is what we'll be doing for the next 3 weeks. So it's just better that we improve, we get better, and then with each passing day. So the floor is yours now to give your kind of feedback, and then we'll end the session in the next 30 seconds if no one is saying anything. Okay, it doesn't look like anyone has anything to say. Okay, so on that note, thank you all for showing up for today's class, and it was an amazing time with you all, and I hope our subsequent sessions will be even more interesting. So in the next class, we are going to um, um, work on, as in build upon what we have learned today, and then we take it gradually. But please come more prepared for our next class. If you don't have the data set already downloaded, please do. The link is already in the group, and Emmanuel just reshared it. So please go to the link, download the data set, and then at least, have the data set locally so that you can follow along in our next class. So on that note, we call it an end, and we end the session now. Thank you all, and then have a wonderful Monday. My name is Kenneth once again. Goodbye.
Bye, thank you.
All right, so you too.